On the all-new pro wrestling show this week, we have breaking news. We don't know if it's true or not. It's alleged that a top WWE tag team may take their ball and go home. We'll have that more. Plus with the Raw ring report, SmackDown ring report, and Hot Topics. With that first story I just told you, we're going to have more as Pro Wrestling Show starts right now. Hello everyone, welcome again to the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host as always, Hendry Dix here. On this week here in pro wrestling, man oh man, what a whirlwind week it has been here on Connect. Join in that conversation right here using the hashtag Connect Pro Wrestling Show. I'm so used to all these shows, but bear with me if y'all. Use it one more time. Use the hashtag right here, Pro Wrestling Show. Join in that conversation here on Connect. Alright, let's get started with the Raw Ring Report. On the Raw Ring Report this week, man oh man. Now, it started with this. Mr. McMahon opens the show with his limousine. He comes out in Mr. McMahon traditional power walk. And, you know, we'll know from there. Braun Strowman, the Monster Among Men, came out and talked about his Royal Rumble match against Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. While he was going through the rundown, that he said that Brock Lesnar's dodging him, Brock Lesnar will lose at the Royal Rumble. Baron Corbin, the man that helped Brock Lesnar become Universal Champion, pops up and tries to instigate with Strowman. Strowman follows him all the way to the parking lot, and in the parking lot, man oh man, Braun and Brock are doing a cat and mouse, and next thing you know, Braun gets singing melody from Elias, and Elias tells him where Brock, what's his name, Baron Corbin at. He tells him that Baron Corbin was inside Mr. McMahon's limousine, so Braun Strowman decides to pull apart the limousine by the limousine door, and Baron Corbin gets by escape, but facing the consequences, Braun faces Mr. McMahon. Mr. McMahon wonders why Braun did what he did, and Mr. McMahon fines Braun $100,000 for tearing up his limousine door. And plus that, Braun got a little bit huffy and puff. Mr. McMahon heard that. Mr. McMahon decided to remove Braun Strowman from the Royal Rumble match against Brock Lesnar. So many believe that what's next for Braun Strowman? Is Braun Strowman going to now end the Royal Rumble? Which it could be a possibility at the end in this. But there will also be a vacancy as well as who's going to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Well, Mr. McMahon got through that where John Cena came out there to answer a claim. Drew McIntyre came out there. Baron Corbin and Finn Balor. They all had a claim. Mr. McMahon decided to do a fatal four-way match, but you know, for that end of the main event. But things got interesting in the early part because Finn Balor told Mr. McMahon that Mr. McMahon doesn't believe in him and always looked down upon him. Well, there was some reports and stuff. So Mr. McMahon got interrupted by Jinder Mahal, who won the piece of Brock Lesnar, because Jinder Mahal brought up the fact that Brock and him were supposed to meet at Survivor Series 2017, where Jinder was on SmackDown as the WWE Champion, Brock was on Raw as the Universal Champion. And Mr. McMahon said, okay, I put this match together. If you defeat Finn Balor, you'll be added to the Fatal 4-Way. And Jinder Mahal didn't do so well, which kind of left a kink in him. But at the end, those four guys, Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and John Cena, gave the 5-all, and at the end, Finn Balor wins the match and earns himself a Universal Championship match against Brock Lesnar. We get to see another dream match with Brock Lesnar. So it's going to be Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. Can Finn Balor regain his title that he never lost? He do so at the Royal Rumble in 2 weeks' time in Shakespeare. Speaking of that, speaking of surprises and, you know, returns. Now, there's been a talent shuffle along, as you see when Nikki Cross helped and teamed up with Natalia and Bailey against the Riot Squad. They won their match, but Nikki Cross doesn't have a brand affiliation yet. We thought she was going to be on SmackDown. They're kind of playing tease. Also, Lacey Evans was on the backstage watching the women's tag team match with some, I think, some sweet tea or something like that, just standing there watching. So we don't know her little affiliation yet. EC3 made an appearance on Raw to stand out there with a line of superstars and did that. Plus, Heavy Machinery was on Raw as well, where they kind of appeared on both Raw and SmackDown. Where Heavy Machinery was on the Becky Lynch segment, and then on Raw they was interrupting Alexa Bliss, who was interviewing Paul Heyman about Brock Lesnar. So it's a lot going on in there that these superstars, you don't know what they're going to end up at, and they want you to keep watching because you don't want to miss something. And I kind of did miss them. Probably I was out too long with that night on Monday before. It was a busy night for me. Also, the tag team situation, as WWE announced that the women's tag team will be determined at Elimination Chamber in February, where they have new belts. As you see right here, many people are saying that the belts are ugly and stuff like that. I think I kind of like those belts. They kind of look more feminine. You know what I'm talking about? Feminine. It kind of the equivalent match to the women's championship. It kind of, for those women's titles, though, you know, the women's titles with the white scrap on it, kind of equivalent to the tag team match. It's different. It's new. A lot of people was talking about the little photo op where there was two women on there, which, but I kind of like this. It's too generic, and you know, I think that they didn't want to be too generic. They wanted to be a little bit creative. You know, remember back in SummerSlam 2016, where people were saying that the Universal Championship was ugly. You know, just everybody's opinion. I like it complements the brand Raw because of that red scrap and the red title and stuff like that. Also, speaking of women, Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey, the women's champion, growing some tension right there when they had a tag team match, and Nia Jax and Tamina was involved. They won the match over the opposing team duo, but Ronda and Sasha Banks have a little bit, you know, what they call that underlying aggression. So we'll see how their aggression festers at Royal Rumble when the women's championship is on the line between Sasha Banks and Ronda Rousey. Okay, and that's kind of it on the Raw side of things. The Revival lost against Lucha House Party, and so I think that's kind of it for the Raw. And speaking of one thing, finally, the Intercontinental Championship was on the line as Bobby Lashley went against Seth Rollins and went against Dean Ambrose. It was a match back and forth pace. It was a good tire match, but at the end, the almighty Bobby Lashley defeated the Architect Seth Rollins and the Lunatic Fred Dean Ambrose to capture his first Intercontinental Championship. Impressive by Bobby Lashley. They're going to be doing Black History Month coming up next month, so you know they're going to be panning him and promoting him as the champion. They're going to watch. They're going to be so much emphasis on Bobby Lashley. But big up for Bobby Lashley winning his first championship in 12 years. But first thing first, we'll be right back with more. Stay tuned. Back again to the Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host as always, Kid Dix, joining that conversation right here using the hashtag PSW. Stands for Pro Wrestling Show here on the Pro Wrestling Show. We talked about Raw was in Memphis, but on the SmackDown Ring Report, SmackDown came here to Birmingham this week, and hey, I'm going to the next tapings, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I made a personal promise, like I always say that I'm gonna go, and I'm end up not going. But this time, whatever WWE lands at, I think it's gonna be Raw or a live event that I'm going. So you don't need the word. I'm going. Believe me. All right. Speaking of that, let's go to the SmackDown Ring Report. All right, on the SmackDown Ring Report this week, SmackDown kicked off what I thought with Becky Lynch coming out there, hell on her own. Becky Lynch came out there and said that she just pointed out everything Asuka was doing. Like Asuka was on the road this past, a year ago, winning the Royal Rumble, going to main event at WrestleMania, and being undefeated until she lost at WrestleMania to Charlotte. So Becky Lynch was trying to prove a point, and the Iconics came out there and tried to interrupt. They was talking about they wanted to be the next women's tag champs, and it's possible they could be in that women's elimination chamber, but they got to go through a whole bunch of teams. But at the end, Becky took on Peyton Royce, and Becky won. And Asuka came out there and talking smack and stuff. Asuka said that she was looking forward to Becky Lynch. She told Becky Lynch this and that, but between these two women, it's going to be Asuka versus Becky Lynch. Asuka's going to win, but Becky Lynch on momentum. But the future holds brightly for Becky Lynch. I tell you that. Okay. Speaking of that, more of the talent influx coming in. EC3 appearing in, while Samoa Joe was trying to come out there and just do his thing. Samoa Joe literally destroyed Mustafa Ali. He left Mustafa Ali laying, and so Mustafa Ali and Samoa Joe, where do we go from here? You got a grizzly veteran and Samoa Joe, and a newly rising newcomer Mustafa Ali. Where we go from there? Like I said, the talent influx, heavy machinery coming out there with Becky Lynch. Nikki Cross interrupted Rey Mysterio acting in a cage and stuff like that. That was kind of weird and crazy. Lacey Evans just drinking tea or something like that with the backstage. But a big match that a lot of folks was talking about was Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. Now, he doesn't go by Andrade Cien Almas no more. He just goes by Andrade. And many people compared that match to being like Eddie Guerrero and Rey back in the early 2005. So Rey Mysterio and Andrade pulling out the work and just non-stop action. And they left an incredible matchup for many, years to come. And maybe we might see this match again. It was a good match. It was long, but it was good. It was like non-stop. You couldn't keep your eyes off the match and stuff. Speaking of that, well, many things. Meanwhile, with Mandy Rose having that factionation with Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso was doing a photo shoot with his brother until someone came and gave him this. And then he took the offer from Mandy Rose to come to the hotel room. Well, we know the hotel room is adjacent to the BJCC arena. And he took that offer, and Mandy Rose and Naomi just got into the hotel room and just beat each other down, pillar to post. Because I think Mandy's reason was she doesn't like Naomi, and she want to make like Naomi's life a living hell. Now, Mandy Rose and probably Alexa Bliss as well, WWE's trying to push the envelope a little bit, trying to showcase their sex appeal and trying to boost ratings and stuff. So they trying to experiment and see how this goes. But Mandy Rose and stuff like that, we'll see how that go with Mandy Rose and Alexa Bliss showing a lot, so much skin, a lot of skin. Also, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Well, AJ was coming out, stood around the crowd, went outside and tried to show Daniel Bryan how to treat the fans with the concession stands. And all of a sudden, he gets ambushed by the WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan. And Bryan got beat up and left on the bottom of the floor with mustard. So Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles meet at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. But this time, I think it's going to be a match dealing with something. It's going to be Falls Count Anywhere or a cage match. It's going to be one of those two on No Holds Barred. We're going to see at Royal Rumble. Also, finally, The Miz throws a birthday party for Shane McMahon. Yes, Miz throws a birthday party for Shane. So it was nice. He gave Shane some sneakers. Shane loved it. To the bar, interrupted in the bar, making a claim that at Royal Rumble they're going to be defeated. But at the end, it was Miz, who didn't have nothing to his wrestling gear on, taking on Sheamus. Yeah, took on Sheamus. And the end, the Miz with the roll up, get the 1, 2, 3. So we're going to see a lot. And speaking of that, Shane McMahon tossed Cesaro into the table with cake in it. Not all that cake wasted. Man, I hate when folks do that, waste cake with stuff, waste food and stuff. But hey, it's a prop for wrestling. And at the end, Miz and Shane McMahon doing the coast to coast, leaving Sheamus with cake face. So we'll see how this go at Royal Rumble between those two. And also, in addition to that, Rusev will defend the United States Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one for the U.S. title. We'll see how that plays out at Royal Rumble. So, that does it for the SmackDown Ring Report. Good SmackDown here in Birmingham and stuff. I'm next time going. I saw my cousin was there with her family. I didn't know that a hotel worker could go to a WWE live event and pay the first front row. Man, anything is possible. Anything is possible in the WWE. Believe me. And next time I see her, I'm going to ask her. All right. Let's move over to Hot Topics. All right, on Hot Topics this week, the top story is WWE. There's, according to sources reporting, that WWE Tag Team The Revival are asking for their release. Now can't confirm nor deny on this situation. The top tag team right now on the Raw division is The Revival. Now many people are speculating that The Revival are unhappy because they haven't become Raw Tag Team Champions after numerous times of them going for it and they don't end up winning. Which I can understand that fact. But at the same time, others are saying that The Revival are destined for AEW. So WWE, what's going on? And I think The Revival at a good spot right there, being the Raw Tag Team Champions, which I think they should be the Raw Tag Team Champions. I'm not knocking no other team. The Revival are a good, strong team, but The Revival should be the WWE Tag Team Champions. Now, I think WWE is going to make sure they become champions, and they can do so at Royal Rumble when they have The Revival win the titles. That's one solution. Give them what they want. If they can let them beat them at Royal Rumble and keep them happy, keep your fans happy, and your fans been telling you that you do this for years because they was top tag team on NXT, while now Raw or SmackDown. And if they on the Raw brand, put them as the tag champs of Raw. You got a good story with them. You put the bar in the top champion, but this ain't for them. So we'll keep up with this story as it goes. But for right now, there is alleged that The Revival may ask for their release in WWE. Jerry the King Lawler had revealed on his own podcast that he has signed a 2-year deal with WWE. So the King said that he's going to be calling the Royal Rumble match alongside JBL and Michael Cole for the men's. So Jerry King Lawler's been doing Royal Rumble matches for a long time. It's no different. So Jerry King Lawler's going to be calling the Royal Rumble match in 2 weeks at the Royal Rumble. He revealed it on Dinner with the King. Also, Flip Gordon and Chris Sabin, but Ring of Honor reports that suffered injuries during their live tapings. Chris Sabin suffered a left on his suffered injuries. I'll say that just he suffered injuries. I think Sabin suffered something with his arm or something like that. Flip Gordon, his has been undisclosed. So we wish them both a speedy recovery and stuff. Well, also, speaking of Ring of Honor, Roosh, the Mexican superstar Roosh. If I was a wrestling promoter, I would love to have Roosh. He's exciting. He's energetic. He could be like the next Rey Mysterio. Roosh signed an exclusive contract with Ring of Honor. So Roosh was appearing on MLW. He was supposed to be appearing in MLW for their events, but now he's not going to appear on MLW. And MLW scrambling, trying to figure out what to keep him on. I think with these wrestling promotions and stuff, it's a lot in a dozen. And some of them, I say, like, these promotions, I get they want to be independent, be on their own. But if you ain't got the money and the top talent decides that they want to go elsewhere, and Ring On is including, like, hey, we want to go over here, we want this person, they're going to be doing like Vince. What Vince used to do, pick and select who he wants. So I tell these smaller companies like Impact, which has been an established company, but they went downhill, don't have a TV deal. Impact, MLW, and stuff like that, to be weary of like the WWE, AEW, and if Ring On, they're going to come in, grab all your talent, and you just ain't got no promotion no more because of the money. All right, speaking of somebody who wants to release, well, Evilise says that she been begging and asking Lucha Underground for a release, but Lucha Underground refused to grant her a release. Hey, like Bruce Prichard used to always say, talent that's unhappy, don't want to be here, let's let them go. And let them go on to move on pastures. And that's what she's going to do. She's going to end up in AEW or something. She's going to end up something. Or she can join her friends in Impact. Most of them heading over there, so I wouldn't be shocked if all of them come over to Impact. From Lucha Underground to Impact. I'm telling you. All right. Lars Sullivan been missing out on tapings this week and last week. They're saying reports that Lars Sullivan is suffering from anxiety issues. And now, big as that monster, you telling me he suffered from anxiety issues? What's going wrong with him? And he wanted to be out and about as the Freak. Hey, he was supposed to have a planned program with John Cena down the road, and they speculated at WrestleMania. So we don't know if this is still going to go on or out, but we'll see on that. Also, Samoa Joe launches his own YouTube channel. As you can see right here, Samoa Joe launches on YouTube channel. I think with Joe launches on YouTube channel, shows his vlogs, his inner time, his inner essence of just being Samoa Joe, the life of Samoa Joe, traveling through the road, meeting new people, and traveling that hectic WWE traveling schedule. So there's a lot to know about Samoa Joe in his little YouTube channel, and I'll be watching it real closely. So, and finally, Chris Jericho explains why he did what he did and why he made the move, the jump to AEW from WWE. Chris Jericho said he wasn't tied in. He said he still has a good relationship with WWE, good terms. He said that Impact made him an offer, but he said when AEW came, everything changed from there. So he's going to be AEW through and through. And that's good because Chris Jericho is that veteran that, like I say, you need one veteran that could help give you credibility and help promote and push the product. And AEW said they want to focus on being wrestling or in-ring product. And that's good. Stay on that basis. So we'll see what AEW does in the future. So I'm excited that wrestling from all spectrums getting the opportunity, and we'll see where AEW will land. But first thing first, thank you all for watching the Pro Wrestling Show this week. I have been your host, Kid Diggs, and we'll see you next time here on the Pro Wrestling Show.